Hey, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to Super Lunch Roast Podcast, episode number 122. I am Brendan, and I am sick, and I am going to talk about UFC Fight Night Lemos versus Andrade, the prelims. Oh, boy. Okay, so if you are looking for the main event or the main card, I covered that in a previous video. If you're looking for any of the Bellator stuff, I covered those in different videos. And if you're looking for the boxing match, same thing. I already did a video on that stuff. So my voice is wearing a little bit thin. I am feeling slightly under the weather here. I don't know. I've already said it in the other videos that I did. So if you watch those and now you're watching this, I apologize. Good grief that I've repeated myself. But I just don't feel very well. So if you, it would help me. It would help me feel so much better if you subscribe to the channel. Maybe. Maybe not. I don't know. I'll wait for you to subscribe. Then I'll continue. Cool. Thank you. Anyway. We're going to talk about the prelims here from Fight Night, Lemos versus Andrade, like I said. The main fight on the headliner to the prelims here was Dwight Grant versus Sergey Khandozhko. All right, I believe that's how you pronounce it, Sergey Khandozhko. Honda for short. So Grant got dropped midway through the first. This fight, by the way, was fantastic. Sergey ended up getting the knockout win in the second round. Fun fight to watch. So this first round, Grant got dropped midway through the round, and then Sergey got dropped with 60 seconds left. Both guys had their moments, and I think Grant just had a more definitive moment in that first round. Right? So if you look at the overall striking numbers, they are in favor of Grant as well, 25-18. So, that leads to my, it adds validity to my point that I believe that Grant took that first round. Plus, they both kind of dropped each other. I felt comfortable giving it to Grant. It seemed like Grant, not that he had better timing or anything. It's just he hits really hard. So every time they would go 1-for-1 or land, he would just do more damage with his shots because he's throwing big looping shots and they're both trying to knock each other out. And then in the second round, Honda got it done, right? Sergey ended up, had Grant stumbling around after taking a big shot, and then both of them were taking damage. Dude, he ended up finishing, just knocking him out clean with a really good shot. So in that second round, Sergey looked really good. I mean, but the thing is, he also got touched up. I know he's had a long layoff. When was his last fight? Last fight was in 2019, I think, due to injury against Rustam Khabilov, and was a loss. So, good to have him back. Actually, it's a similar story with this guy too. Tyson Pedro taking on Ike Villanueva. Tyson Pedro getting the win via KO at the end of the first round here. So Pedro was using leg kicks to do some damage, and Ike couldn't move. It took 3 leg kicks before Villanueva really wasn't able to move on that lead leg. And then through the fourth one, Ike picked up the leg, couldn't walk on it, was basically hopping around. He wasn't quite hopping around, but he was basically hopping around, right? Hobbled, and then he took a big shot. He took another one, falls down because of the leg kick, and then Pedro throws some unnecessary, but the ref didn't stop in, so he's doing his job. He's going for the finish. Good to see Pedro back. Tyson Pedro was always like a 50-50 fighter. Yeah, exactly what I said. I don't even need it. Anyway, he's always like a 50-50 fighter. He has some good wins over Khalil Roundtree back in 2016, Paul Craig in 2017, and then losing to Ilir Latifi in 2017. And then Safarov versus Safarov, we all know that guy. And then losing to Ovin St. Preux. And then losing to, I remember when he lost to Shogun. That was 4 years ago. He had a long layoff. He also had, he had knee surgery. So it's good to see him back. And this is the light heavyweight division. So seeing someone like him jump back into the fray here, I'm hoping, the best for him. He's a highly skilled light heavyweight, and he was, slanging and banging with guys who are still, not necessarily the top of the division, but can still compete with the best of them. So, I'm sorry. Man, my nose is bugging me. Good grief. All right. Orochi Lang versus Cameron Else. Orochi Lang was landing nasty shots, and then he ended up getting the finish in the first round. Dude, this guy hits hard. I mean, his nickname is the Mongolian Murderer, so it's a bit aggressive. Couldn't have that nickname around the office. Hey, look, it's Steve. Oh, and also Orochi Lang, the Mongolian Murderer. Here he comes. Like, that doesn't work out, right? Like, you can be the donut guy or, like, whatever. I don't know. It brings me back to, like, the Rob Schneider bit from frickin' SNL. Also, I work in an office now, so I have that awkward thing. Like, I also started watching Seinfeld, and he talks about that thing, you know, when you walk by someone in the morning, you'd be like, hey, how you doing? And then later on, you're still, like, you still have to keep saying hi to them throughout the day to be nice. I don't hate it. It's just awkward. Anyway, Orochi Lang looked good, knocking out Cameron Else. Really big shots. All right, moving on here. Preston Parsons taking on Evan Elder. This one went... didn't go the distance. What am I talking about here? Parsons was more had some... oh, wait, what? You dummy. This one did go the distance. What am I talking about here? I wrote it down. Why don't I trust my notes? Parsons with the more effective damage and had good position. I gave him the first round. Yep, 16-12. Story checks out. Parsons with pressure grappling and some grappling submissions and taking that round in the second round. Look at that, 16-7, and then the more of the same for the third. Elder just wasn't able to do anything. He just kept. It was a grapple fest. It wasn't able to get anything done. So it's kind of a, Elder looked fine for this being his like a short notice first UFC fight, and he was still trying to swing and try to get the knockout here, and he kept working. His cardio didn't look bad, so high hopes for him. Marcin Prachnio versus Philippe Lins. Prachnio with the damage and the pressure in that first round. I gave him that first round 10-9, and striking numbers bear that out. Second round was pretty close. Lins landing some bombs early and ending with some more damage. I think the ending of that second round is really what gave it to Lins, and that's why I gave it to him. And then these guys are so tired. They looked like crap. And I gave it the last round to Lins, but not by a lot. And you can see it on the numbers here. They both looked like shit. And, Lins used to fight at heavyweight, and he's coming down to light heavyweight. And, oh, yeah, he feels better. Well, he looked like crap, and he looked exhausted by round 3. These guys are not ready for the upper echelon of the division. And we opened up, so we can talk about this one. This was a shit show. What a shit show this fight was. Dean Barry was throwing Chuck Liddell giant right hands. Looked so stupid. Do you know which ones I'm talking about? The giant overhand, like looping over like this, coming down almost like across the face, trying to land those. He looked like an idiot. And Jackson wasn't able to land that many shots either. I mean, look, Dean Barry threw 90 shots and landed 36 of them. I know accuracy doesn't matter as far as winning rounds, but if you want to watch something hilarious, watch this. Anyway, Jackson gets the win here due to disqualification. Now, Barry landed a spinning kick to Jackson's nuts. Okay, and then there was some... So this was kind of funny. I say it's a shit show because it was, like, as far as the professional sports goes. But as far as entertainment, I was entertained. In fact, this was probably the second most entertaining thing on this whole card. I think the most entertaining was probably the Dwight Grant, Sergey Khandozhko fight. Macy Barber fight was, I mean, if you're into that sort of thing. Yeah, Prachnio Lins had its moments. Anyway, this fight was hilarious. So he lands a spinning kick to the nuts, and then Jackson, because nobody's there and he's yelling, you can hear everything he's saying, and it's hilarious. He's like, oh, spinning kick to the dick. Oh, man. It's a nice kick, though. It's a nice kick. Good kick, Barry. And, like, so, and he's like, and then he's like, the referee's asking him, yeah, Chris Tognoni was asking him, "Hey, what kind of cup do you have on? Do you have a Muay Thai cup, a regular cup?" And he's like, "I got a diamond cup on." And he said, "Fuck that shit. I'm kicking right through it." So, regardless of how you feel about Jackson's fighting skill, at least he's funny. And then he got poked in the eye. He actually got hit low before that, like a punch straight low. So he got a hard warning for this. And then during the exchange, freaking Barry like pushes away at him and then digs in with two. And I mean digs in. I there's very few moments in MMA, like especially like in the replays, that I can't watch. It wasn't this eye, it was the right eye. But for example, like he had two fingers inside his eye and they were pulling, like gouging when in slow motion. It was so hard to watch. And again, Jackson was funny about it. It's whatever. I don't know. This fight was, like I said, a total shit show, and it was a DQ win because Tognoni felt that he had been given enough warnings and he was fighting sloppily, and that was his fault on the side of Barry, right? Normally I would go off on like a little bit of a rant here on whether or not I agree with this. I don't have a problem with it, and honestly, like, it's more just funny. In this one, it was funny. It's the first fight of the card. Like, Jackson was 0-1, now he's 1-1. It's just funny. This other guy's first fight in the UFC. It's unfortunate for a fight to end like that. Blah blah blah. I don't care. It was funny. Like in a weekend of lackluster fights, because that's what this was. There were a ton of boring fights this weekend. All right, at the end of it, like that might be why I'm so sick. No, but at the end of it, I was really done. You know, I had seen enough boring MMA for this to have my fill, right? Yeah, so having a moment of levity to start the card where like Jackson's hilarious. It was funny. It was funny. I recommend, if you didn't watch it because you don't watch the prelims normally, go watch the Dean Barry Mike Jackson fight. Not for the fighting skill, but for the hilarity. It's worth it. That's my recommendation for this card. You don't have to watch any other fight from this card, honestly. That one I would go watch. All right. That's all. I'm done covering the card. I'm done going all this stuff. If you made it this far, I really appreciate you. I really do. This is my last video of the weekend. I will be covering everything next weekend. Plus, I think that there might be a PFL during the week, and I will be covering that as well. So it means a lot to me if you would subscribe to the channel. If you did like the video, please go ahead and click that like button. You know the thumbs up one? You know the one. You can do it. Anyway, I appreciate y'all. I really do. Love y'all. Have an awesome week.